Hi, this is Kathy Jackson Fong of kathyjacksonfong.com. And this morning I want to bring you yet another review of one of the interviews that I watched as part of the online summit that my company is holding. What they're doing is they're picking 40 network marketing industry leaders and doing a 1-hour interview with each of them to discuss their views and approaches for the industry. And today I'm talking about an interview that our co-founder and CEO, Brian Fanale of My Lead System Pro, conducted with Amber Voight. Amber is a very interesting person, and I really appreciated this interview, not only because she's in one of the companies that I'm in, although much higher. She's one of the 3 top leaders. But just her accomplishments. And for those of you who are struggling and wondering, can I do this? What's blocking me? Amber was very open. She started in the industry when she was 17, worked it for about 10 years, didn't have a lot of success. She's a single mother of 3 young boys. And I believe she said she has a grade 8 education. And listen to what this woman has accomplished. First of all, she has built this business entirely online. Now, people in her downline do home parties and run Facebook ads, but that hasn't been Amber's approach, and you can still do this. Amber, this is just mind-blowing. She has a team of 200,000 people, which is just awesome. This year, they're on track to do sales of $85 million with plans to double it next year. So there are, if her message is what all of the other leaders have said. If I can do it, you can do it. What you need to do is consistently take the steps and actions that you need. You'll face challenges along the way, but just deal with them and you can get through it. So, one of the things that Amber talked about, which other people have talked about as well, is this was not her first company. She tried some other companies and wasn't successful for a variety of reasons. One of them that she mentioned was she thought, oh, it must be the products. And for another one, she thought, oh, it's my upline. It's not a good upline. I'm going to move. But as she grew and got frustrated, she was forced to realize what a lot of other people have realized. That first company with the products, there were other people in that company with the same products who managed to have success. In the second business, there were people under the same upline as her who were very successful. And when you think about it, then you have to start realizing that the common denominator is you. And what Amber realized and what she did was she realized that she needed personal development, and she went up and got it. And I'm going through it. We'll all go through it. It's not easy. It's a lot of work, but you can do it. You just have to make the effort. One of the things that she commented, there are a few things that she said, but one of the things she said was that as she was growing and developing, she had to move away from people who were not supportive and didn't understand her vision. And she started hanging out online with people like Eric Worre, Jim Rohn, some of the big leaders, and learned from them. And in the end, what's really interesting is that she did it so well, she's actually a personal friend of Eric Worre's, which is awesome. So that's one thing that she did. And you have to become the person who can lead these businesses. And when you do, these things will happen. And the other thing she said was that as she was going through this, she would look at herself and say, what is it that I need to improve? And then she would go out and do it. So that's something that we all need to keep in mind. And basically, her approach is the same that many other leaders in the industry use. She focuses on relationships and bringing value to those relationships. Think of your target market. What is it they want to know? And provide it to them. And they'll know that when they need to learn something, they can go to you. The other thing is that she said one of the ways to build relationships is to let people get to know you. So yes, she does videos, do-it-yourself videos with her products, but she also does them with things she's doing around the house. She does it with her lifestyle. She does it with a lot of things so that people get to know who Amber really is. Let me tell you, she's a really great person. And that's one thing I've noticed about all of these people who are very successful. In this industry, because it's so based on relationships, I have yet to find somebody who's a very successful leader who is not a genuinely nice and supportive person. So that's something to keep in mind. Just flip the page here. Now, there were a few things that Amber said that were not covered in other interviews that I've heard yet. One of the things she said that I found really interesting, and it's a bad habit that I need to break. She said that if you're on Facebook and you're just scrolling down your timeline and not interacting, that actually hurts you. Facebook says, oh, this is a social media platform that's meant for engagement, and this person isn't engaging. They're just going through. So take the time to interact with people. If you see somebody who's online, go to their page, look at their status, look at a few postings, comment, interact, make comments. If somebody comments on your postings, comment back. It only takes a few seconds. Oh, and this was something that I don't do, but if I do it in the future, I'm going to remember this. She said, you don't know who's watching your video. And sometimes it can be young children. So if you have music in the background, make sure that it's kid-friendly, because you don't want to expose them to something that their parents don't want them exposed to. And believe me, I think if you do that, you might hear from their parents. So a good tip to keep in mind. Another point that she said is that, I found this very interesting. Amber recognizes that a lot of people no longer like talking on the phone. There's nothing wrong with it. Some people have built a great business that way. But she does her conversations online. And when she approaches somebody, she often records a voice message so that when they get the information, they not only get, when they get the message, they not only get the information, but they hear her voice. They get to know her a bit better. They hear her enthusiasm, and it really helps build the relationship. And she also texts people. And she says, just because somebody says no doesn't mean they're necessarily saying no forever. So be professional in accepting the no. Keep them around, keep in contact with them, and realize that maybe now is just not the time. Maybe you haven't built up enough of a relationship, or it's just a bad time for them. But that's not something on you. That's just the reality of the world. One of the things that she said, which I thought was a great tip, was when she's talking to somebody about her business, one of her closing statements to them is, are you ready to get started? And I think that opens a lot of doors. It's not just, here's the opportunity, what do you think about it? It's, here it is, there's all this great stuff. This is how it can help you. And are you ready to get started? And that makes them think. One of the things that Amber mentioned, and this is a really good approach, when you're talking to somebody, look for a problem that they're having. You know, like, my child has an event at school tomorrow. I can't go because I have to be at work. I wanted to get my children this for Christmas, or I wanted to do this with my spouse or for myself. I don't have the money. use that as an inroad or an approach method to say, well, I have this opportunity and you're awesome. I think this might be a good fit for you. Present it to them just as that, just as an opportunity. Don't think of them as a potential downline. Think of how you might help them. And if they choose not to take it, that's their choice. But they might come back. And that has, I've heard many people say that. One of the things about Amber, and I think this really has led to a lot of her success, is in the conversation. She's extremely supportive of her team. And you know, for 200,000 people, that's a huge team. So one of the things she's done is she's created several different groups for people who are new to the business, for people who are leaders, for people who are like her very top leaders, where they get together and talk about what can help the whole downline. And she's in those groups all of the time. Now, one of her groups is quite large. She was saying that they have like 250 admin people to keep the group going. But she's there and she's present. And I'm trying to remember now who said it. I think it was Doug Firebaugh. They said, one of the things with these major leaders, when you see them stop growing, what's often happened is they've disengaged from the growth process and they've just they're going on residuals. But what happens is the people below you who have joined for you and are attracted to you see that happening, and then they disengage and they stop growing, and eventually the team gets smaller. And I didn't write this down. I'm not sure where Amber mentioned it, but she said she takes a sheet of paper and she says, okay, this is all of the people in the group who have started at this point. And if you stick with it, then she folds the paper in half. In X time, half of these people will be gone, but you're in the half that's there. And then she folds it again, and she says, more people have left, but you're still there. And it continues on, and finally, you're the one there standing and running in the group. And one of the comments she made when she was asked what it is that she promotes, and this is something Doug Firebaugh also mentioned, Amber promotes the opportunity of her business, what it gives you in terms of lifestyle, finances, opportunity, and so on, and not the products themselves. Now, I happen to know that she's picked a company that has terrific products, which really helps, but that's not what she's promoting. The other thing she talked about is when you're a leader, you're going to have people who become inactive, you're going to have people who leave the group, and so on. Amber never cuts ties with them. She always keeps the door open. Things may change. They may go, you know, after a shiny object and go, oh, I really did already have this shiny object and I want to come back. So one of the things she does is around this time of year, she will contact each of the people who are inactive and say, hey, what if I throw a party for you online? You know, you might get some sales and generate some cash for the holidays. If that would help you out, I'm willing to do it. And that makes a big impact on people. They know then for sure that she's not bitter or upset or anything about their choosing to take another opportunity. And she said, you know, people, it's just part of life. People may see another opportunity and say, that's a better fit. You have to let them go. If it's meant to be, they'll come back. And you'll also encounter haters, but just toss them to the side. They have their right to their opinion. It doesn't mean you have to stop. And basically, what Amber was saying is that part of her success is, as I mentioned, she has worked hard to build a very strong community. She's in these Facebook groups answering questions and doing her job. She's doing it consistently and constantly, which is a message you're going to hear me say from my bet every single interview that I review. So keep that in mind. But the basic bottom line, or the concluding line, I guess, is Amber and all of these other leaders feel that if this is something that they can do, then this is something that we can all do. So look at what you need to do and where you feel you are short and go after it. So that's my review for Amber's interview. I thought it was awesome. She's a terrific person. I'm really proud to be in a company that she's in. And I think there's a lot of growth there. So I hope you got some good information from this. Feel free to drop me a comment and I'll be happy to reply to you. Have a nice day. Bye.